Deicide. Hello, and welcome to Deicide. I'm your host, deamonmachine, that I don't have a nameplate for, that I will put in a second. But today I'm joined by, ooh crap, I forgot to name him. Bart, not mesmerized, because of the now hi-rez. Bart's joining us over here on the left side.
Hello.
The unseen face. Then we have Sprayon from Denial EU, and then Pon from the depths of the internet.
From me.
From Pon. The well-known people. Thank you all for joining me very much. As everybody knows, a giant patch was released today with all sorts of changes, namely the map being the biggest. Oh my god, how has the day been today, Bart, with all of this craziness? Like, the patch and getting it all out.
It's pretty crazy. It's good, though. So far, the initial feedback has been pretty good. I haven't seen, a tremendous amount yet. I'm sure by tomorrow morning there'll be a lot more, but yeah. Definitely looking like a good one. Hopefully we're 100% stable through the next few days as well.
Hopefully. Yeah, we were playing a little bit. We got in one game before we were getting ready for the show, and one thing I noticed, the only thing I noticed thus far, was that the minions were having trouble walking down the lane. It's just like they were walking, and then they randomly started walking backwards, and they walked forward again. It was on the side lane. So, just my 2 cents of feedback at the very second. But
Making rage thread about it on Reddit.
Yeah.
Yes,
I don't
exactly.
I'm not gonna really listen to you unless it's a rage thread on Reddit. I'm really perfectly honest.
Oh, okay. I got it. Hold on. I'll be right back going to Reddit. So, we'll run over real quick the last weekend's tournament roundup, which I always make this lovely video for every week. Over on the North American side, we have Root Gaming coming in first, Snipe Gaming coming in second, and Reason Gaming coming in third. Root 2-0'd Snipe in the finals. Right, yeah. And then Reason 2-0'd Denial Academy for third. Sorry, not fourth. And then over on the EU side, Bipolar Method won 2-0 over Denial EU. Shocking. And then E-Lemon Gaming came in third after knocking out... Crap. Can't remember who the fourth place was. I want to say Vex. No.
That's why you gotta list the fourth place.
Yeah, that's why I don't even list it. I gotta list them sometime. But, Sprayon, what did you guys think about those finals? I mean, they were so close.
So boring.
So boring?
It was probably the 2 most boring games I played
Oh.
in the history of Smite. It was like they literally ran 5 minus boots and played like super passive the whole game.
Yeah, that was true.
Yeah, it was like a really, really boring game. So
in this latest patch, you guys highly nerfed the Midas boots, Bart. Do you think that we'll still see the 5 Midas strategy?
I doubt it. I mean, we didn't really see it a tremendous amount during the tournaments. I mean, we saw it primarily on 2 or 3 players. Now you can't buy them at level 1. I imagine you'll still probably see it on some of the supports, although it does put you in a little bit more of an awkward position. But because their tier 1 is fairly cheap, there's some options that you have, I think. But it'll be really interesting to see what teams are able to do with it. But so much has changed in this patch anyway, it's hard to point at, the Midas boost change and be like, if this was done in the absence of everything else, what would have happened? So
yeah,
I think, as part of the total change, that you'll see them probably still used, but maybe not as widely.
Mm-hmm.
Very true. So, I mean, it kind of pretty much wraps up our summary of the tournament, so we're going to move on now to the patch notes and the discussions about them, and anything that, I guess, questions from the viewers, if you'd like to ask, we have our call-in up there. You can call us in at Smite Talk on Skype and ask Bart questions related to the patch notes that were just released today. We don't need to ask him about all the, what skin's coming out next, stuff like that. We'll just stick to what's released today. Spray, Pond, do you guys have any questions you would like to ask him right off the bat?
Not particularly.
Did you guys optimize the engine? Because it seems to be running a lot faster in the new map. Like, I was getting 130 frames a second, which usually I'd get like 90. Was that, like, unintentional, or do you know if they tried to do that?
Oh, I mean, it definitely wasn't unintentional. Every patch we look to improve performance, so that's not it's entirely possible that the way Fog of War is working, that you're not having to render as much stuff at once, so you could have gotten some frame improvements there.
Very nice. Yeah. It's very good.
Yeah, I was streaming 1080p earlier, which is nice. Although I can't do that on my personal channel, and I'll just alienate everyone.
True. Very true. So, you guys decided to revert the tower change. Is it back to what it was, or is it now a distance of 65 instead of 70?
I don't know what the actual number is, but it was 70, and then it was 60 in the dev build that I played yesterday, and now it's something more than that. So 62, 63, 64, 65, 66. Your guess is as good as mine.
Okay.
I could maybe find out if it was really that important, but it's kind of, it's longer than you can attack from, and that's all that really matters.
Okay. Apparently it's 62 is what many people have heard.
I think that's just like what I guessed, but I don't think it is. That's certainly not empirical. That's just
Okay.
like, it appears to be a little bit longer.
Yeah. So basically you can't solo the tower without creeps, which is one of those things I don't think should be there.
Yeah, Apollo is going to be terrifying.
Split pushing, just land next to the tower,
Yeah.
shoot it until they come and get you, and then you run away.
Yep.
Yeah, that would be... I don't think that would work very well. So, that's that. What other big things? Other big things. Questions. Feel free to throw out questions if you have them, or call us up on Smite Talk, of course.
I've only been able to play one game, so I haven't really
Yeah,
been able to.
that's one of the
get
biggest
everything
problems at the very
fast.
second, of course. But,
Yeah.
so did you guys get feedback to change the map on, like, did you consult with different people, or was this like an internal decision on how you wanted to change the map better for jungling routes and stuff like that and counter jungling? Because I see you took the red buff, or basically where the red buff was, and turned it sideways. And so it's more of a contestable gold camp?
Specifically, kind of the changes around the map, so without talking kind of about like camps that were changed one by one, it's more of a, generally make it wider lanes, a little bit less chokes, a little bit less AoE friendly, I guess you could say. Give you a little bit more room to maneuver, try to incentivize team fights more often. And try to make a map where we can play with some more stuff in terms of knobs to turn to try to get jungling to the point where the vision is for it, which is a viable part of the game, but certainly not mandatory nor necessarily optimal unless executed.
Okay. Sounds good. What are your thoughts on the ranged being able to attack Fire Giant without fear of lava? I didn't know they could hit it from outside the lava range.
I don't think they can.
I think he's talking about with the side doors. I don't know if that. I don't know how that actually works because I haven't played it yet.
We didn't get a chance to do up against Fire Giant yet to find out if that
Side
works.
That'd be one of those things that, if that's the case, it's certainly unintended, and if it's possible, that we'll probably look to clean it up.
Okay.
I do have a question. Were people brought onto like the art team, or did the art team just get a change in direction as to where they were going? Because like in terms of like what they were pumping out 6 months ago to now, it seems like it's a completely different direction, and almost seems like there'd be new people.
No, same people, different
People,
kind of
just
art
different.
direction.
Yeah, I'm really like really happy with what they've been pumping out.
So, it was one of those things where when Smite started, it was a Smite team. Now, basically, as a studio, we're pretty much all in on Smite. So, you have now a full art team working on it instead of, a couple of prop artists and a level designer. Now it's an art team. So, that's why you're getting, the drastic improvements. Plus, they've decided to go with a new direction. So that's why it seems so drastically different. But up until this point, it was pretty much all the same team that did everything. It was a different team on the Joust map than the main map. And then now that the updated Joust map is the same art team that's going to be revising the Conquest map,
Very cool.
which is to say, like, everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like it a lot, and hopefully it'll keep improving performance. I think that you were right with the rendering of the distance thanks to the Fog of War actually was a big help. I wasn't too thrilled about the Fog of War coming back. Was there a particular reason that you guys thought of to bring it back, other than just, you wanted to incentivize jungling, so Fog of War will make it easier as spray iron disconnects? To make it, more safe to jungle, counter jungle, be able to move around in the jungle without being detected unless they had wards placed everywhere. Because beforehand, I guess mid could see almost all the way down to near blue buff, just looking down the lane. So, I mean, if you could just spot them real quick, then you know where they are. You can track them. So the Fog of War definitely is going to help counteract that a lot. You have to spend the money on wards. I mean, you guys trying to incentivize warding, I guess?
Oh, yeah, of course. I mean, that's certainly part of it, is that, you should be warding, and that we should be incentivizing that. So, I mean, I guess you can make the argument that this is really just punishing not warding, so more so than necessarily providing for incentive for warding, but I think that's, kind of 6 of one, half dozen the other.
Yeah.
In general, Fog of War changes were more to accommodate how we wanted the map to be laid out than necessarily a specific design to include that as a mechanic. We wanted the map to have different aspects, different corridors, longer, more open corridors, and be a bit more simple in terms of navigating it. Of course, it's going to be complicated for people that have been playing Smite for a year, but if you haven't been playing Smite for a year, it'll probably be a bit easier to navigate. But to kind of make that happen and not be able to just watch, their orange buff from your XP camp, we had to put in the to put in the Fog of War.
Yeah, I mean, especially with I guess you'd really have to with the fact that you made everything so much wider. It makes it so much easier to see everywhere. Yeah. Can we get a quick change to the minimap color, or how long until it looks less like a World War II battle scene?
I think you're talking about the brown color of the minimap.
Oh.
I mean, that's a projection of the actual map. So, I mean, we could.
So the map got browner.
Yeah, the map got browner, so the minimap got browner.
That's good.
That's the way it goes. Welcome to the 21st century, man.
Yeah, very true. Man, there's so many things that I wanted to ask. Now I've, of course, forgotten them all. The second I get in, I was planning it all, and I was like, we're going to play a game real quick so we can find out if there's anything else we want to ask. And now it's just what looks great. You guys found the bug of Anubis having life-stealing in his auto attacks. You fixed that.
Oh, that was so fun. I'm so sad they fixed that.
It
was so fun auto-attacking for like 80 health back each time, and everyone's like, how are you living fights?
Although, have you heard much... Is something going on with... not Alkwang, but Hungbats. His ult does so much damage!
Yeah, it does a lot. I think I worked out that like with like 3 or 4 items, if you catch them in the entire tick, it's something like 650 damage.
Yeah,
That's a lot.
I think at max rank with the right items, it'll do up to 1,000. Oh no, I'm sorry, we nerfed it. It was actually stronger internally at some point, and everyone was like, okay, this is nuts. I don't know, the intention for Hunbots, I know was last I kind of heard about it was that we wanted him to be more of an assassin. So that's why you saw the cooldown reduction on overhead smash and the stronger fear with some extra damage, because Wukong's ultimate basically didn't do any. I don't know if he's now ended up being a better assassin or if he's just kind of a different style than Wukong. It's basically more ult reliant and less damage output from his abilities. But that was the intention. So you'll probably, if he's not performing how we want him to perform in terms of not necessarily what stats he's getting, but just his role, then you may see him tweaked a little bit more. But in general, I think the hit progression stuff, basically his AoE attacks were just really, really, it just allowed him to be such a ridiculously good jungler with the cooldown reduction on his overhead smash and the damage contribution. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see exactly where he lands up.
Apparently Sparrow had to go for practice.
Oh, is that what he said?
Yeah, I'm gonna have to leave call. My team wants me for scrims.
Oh. Glad he told me that somewhere that I could read it. That's what happened. Great. Well, then I am fixing this anyway. There. Take off that silly man's name. Because he left us. Just like the lawyer from Jurassic Park. Yes, so, let's see, that was... What? Do you guys think that Athena will now be the best tank in the game with her ability to teleport to wards and then teleport back to her place on the map? Although she would need a lane partner if she's solo laning, then I don't think so. But with the new teleportation thing, it makes all these. Does it help try? I guess nerf the already globally present gods, or why did you guys decide to bring in the teleport scroll basically
Um,
to
so
incentivize more team fights? Or
yeah, this was again, kind of all this stuff is not necessarily supposed to be like
It's
final
supposed-
implementation. It was to kind of test that mechanic as a way to incentivize more action, or at least make it more available. So now, obviously there's a lot of situations that it's going to be very interesting to see how teams use wards. I would imagine that gods like Apollo will become very, very high tier. There'll be some strange things going on. Like I believe right now that you can ward basically in their base, and it won't be detected. And then you could kind of like mass teleport to the Minotaur or behind the Phoenixes, these types of things. So it'll be interesting to see what comes of it. But in general, it was to make more movement, more ability to gank lanes effectively and efficiently without it being so high risk, high reward, or really so high risk, but still be rewarding.
Because it's making the very fast-paced game even that much faster, which is something I approve of.
It'll be interesting to see how, because it has like the potential of like this ganking tool, but it's also like 250 gold for a scroll, and like if that goes badly, man, that put you so far behind.
Yeah.
And so like I can see teleport scroll being like this really cool thing and people using it well, but I can also see it just backfiring and being like, well, I just wasted like 500 gold and nothing happened. So it'll be interesting. I think it's an interesting addition. I'm just really happy that like I think when it first came out they said 100 gold and I was like, oh god, please no.
Yeah.
5-man ganks mid will not be fun.
Yeah, that would be scary.
You just like ward behind them and they can't see the ward, and so like you just can't ever walk forward anymore.
Yeah, that would be bad. So what do you guys think this is going to affect the 2-1-1 lane composition? You have any anticipation as to what it might I think it's just still going to be a 1-1-2 combo where there's going to be two people in one lane, etc., and then the one jungler, of course? Or does this new jungle make it to where you really have to have a jungler and you can't go without one?
I think it's too early to say whether you need a jungler or not. I imagine that you kind of do. And if you were to run 1-2-2, it would be this patch, although I don't think it'd be optimal because now the side lanes are shorter. So you're not at much risk of dying, or as much risk of dying, like you can get to your towers a little bit quicker. And so you could forego throwing two into like the right lane and instead go with side lanes being solo, but like I doubt you'll see that happen.
Yeah. But
because solo could get a lot of help, and like it'd be really hard to zone out a solo mid with how short that lane is.
Yeah, it would be. Is that one of the biggest reasons why the lanes were shortened, do you think? That would be to help the zoning out problem that was making the game so passive in the previous patch, where you would get the 2-on-1 and then they would just stand on the other side of the minions and be like, we'll wait. Bart, did you see that as a problem that you guys are trying to remedy?
The intention of that change is to make it so that you can play more aggressively without having as much risk of being overextended.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the kind of the tower range change was more along the lines of was more specifically designed to address kind of turtling and the ability to do so. We'll see if that's effective now that we've had to kind of come back, obviously, on the initial config. The 1v2 lanes, personally, I think I was talking about, I don't remember when I was talking about this, but personally, like, that's a role that I really like to play, and I really like that being an option. I think really the problem here is not the fact that we're running 2v1 lanes that are very like lane control and XP deny heavy or last hit deny heavy. I think it's more the fact that it's so easy for tanks to do it and so not easy for mages to do it. I'd prefer to see more evasion style mages able to solo lanes and have bigger teamfight presences in the mid game as a roamer than necessarily gods like Odin with just obscene turnaround potential in a 1v2, especially with global ults and now teleporting into lanes, something more like a Puck from Dota than what Odin is.
Mm-hmm.
What is a Puck from Dota exactly?
Puck is a mage that basically has a spell that's like Thor's Mjolnir, but it doesn't come back; it just goes out.
Mm-hmm.
and he has a AoE silence, and and his ultimate is basically a large AoE that basically everyone's tethered to the center, and if they go outside of the radius, they get stunned and they take damage while they're inside of it. And then his third ability is he just basically aegises, like he goes out of existence. It's Puck, like from Midsummer's Night's Dreams. He's a fairy, so he it's called phase shift, and he just winks out. So you throw out the hammer, you wink out, then you teleport to it,
Yeah.
and then but basically he's this mage that has decent clear and a lot of escapability and a big turnaround ult, right? And he's able to 1v2. And I just kind of like that as the role personally more than it being a tank. But I honestly have no problem with 1v2 lanes and deny-based meta. I think it's maybe not in alignment with what our stated goals are for the game, but it is not, in my opinion, a bad thing.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I think the biggest problem with it, like for example, last patch was you could just buy Midas boots at the start, and with the mobility you had, you could actually just stay in range of the minions and you could avoid being killed. And it would cause this like really passive 10 to 15 minutes where like nothing really happened in that lane except the solo lane just did well because I had Midas. And like the way how like long the lanes were, it was actually dangerous to ever go forward and be aggressive because the jungler could just come out. I think now with this patch, with Midas not being as much of a threat as it was, you'll see a more interesting 1v2 lane, which I'm happy for, and I don't mind that.
Yeah.
But I'm hoping it'll be more interesting this patch.
Arachne's eggs break the leash length? That's what Fozen's saying in the chat, was that that's a bug about Arachne's eggs will break the leash length. You'll have to explain it a little bit better.
Yeah, why am I not a mod? I would so ban Synopsis Fra.
I got it.
There we go.
Arachne's eggs break the leash length. That's gotta give it a little more than that.
Spart, you sound like you're not feeling well. Are you actually feeling okay?
Oh, I'm fine. I'm fine.
Okay.
Don't get mono.
So
It
here's the
sucks.
question that Skeleton has, which is, you plan on doing anything with Fire Giants? Since the death timers are reduced and you can now teleport to wards, it'll be harder to get. For simple reasons that enemies will be able to be there faster, giving players a smaller opening to get it. Also, there are multiple entrances, so you can't zone people out either. This makes Fire Giant a very, very risky thing. I mean, even in League and I believe Dota, there's basically one entrance to the Baron Nashor / whatever the Dota version is.
It's called Roshan.
Roshan, that's it. Roshan. So why the multiple
in League
openings?
In League it's different because it's a really open area right before the Fire Giant pit, and that wall is so jumpable by like almost anything.
Yeah.
That it's way more open than it would seem in League.
Yeah, Dota is probably the most restricted, I would say. It's a pretty narrow opening. But again, it's like Pon saying, the area right in front of it was really wide open, and that certainly was not the case for the Fire Giant pit. And really with Smite being so AoE dependent and heavy, it's not the kind of thing that really made a lot of sense to have a choke there, right? I mean, I feel like it's dangerous enough, as kind of that question was entailing with the ports and that kind of thing, to really take Fire Giant in a sneaky way and then have it be like highly punishable, which is kind of like the trade-off that you have with a big choke at that objective. But with the amount of kind of persistent ground-based AoE abilities in Smite, specifically like how Agni's Noxious Fumes work, like you would have just like 9 seconds of denial with Gem of Isolation, right? Just kind of sitting out there doing nothing.
Yeah.
That kind of stuff made it just seem like the better option was to make Fire Giant a little bit more dangerous to try to hold than necessarily. Basically, at the end of the day, it was disproportionately strong for some characters having the choke there. Amir, Thor's, Agni's, Ao Kuang's, these types of people were able to just really, really punish that, where that's not really the intention. It was more to make it more dangerous, and I think it ended up being that it was actually advantageous in some circumstances to have them be forced to try to come in and disrupt. So hopefully this is a good addressing for that.
Yeah, I mean, it also works both ways. I mean, it makes it to where you can start Fire Giant, and if they come in, you guys can just split out the other doors, too. And so it's not as high of a risk to attempt it right off the bat, where it's like, oh god, we're all in here, we're screwed if we can't jump out.
Yeah.
So it works both ways. And, I mean, I do like it, although I still wish there was... I want the fire giant like it was in the spectator mode with the top off. Yeah, because it feels so
too easy.
claustrophobic in there.
That'd be too easy for Thor.
Now here's the next question I have: when is the UI being updated for the spectator client, like it is in the?
It will.
Okay.
We're finalizing the UI changes for the Conquest and Live and Playing, right? So once we get those finished up, you'll see that migrated over to the spectator client.
Okay. I do like director mode though. That was a nice.
It's neat.
Nice addition.
Eat your cereal and watch Might Patch.
Yeah. So what does it pick when it decides to pick? Is it just pick who casts spells or something like that? I mean, it seems like it's kind of a whoever uses an ability it jumps to for a certain amount of time.
It's primarily based on proximity.
Okay.
So like things are basically worth points. So, being near a tower is worth so many points, being near a friendly is worth so many points, being near an enemy is worth so many points, being near an enemy that's low on health is worth more points, being near an enemy when you're low on health is worth more points, those types of things. And then there's a few specific triggers, but in general it's pretty loose. And it's something that we'll look to kind of refine as we move forward. Like, for example, like one of the things that we know, like we want to get to is like when something in classic global ultimate, that should be pretty high priority, and we can do some cool stuff in directed mode that you can't really do normally, like follow neath arrows, track with them, that kind of stuff. So we'll get there.
That would be fun. Yeah, I agree. Oh, so we'll let you go here in a second because you have to go and get to your own stream. Are you announcing anything big today?
Nothing tremendously large here today, but we have some cool stuff for you today, so be sure to tune in. But nothing really that exciting.
I heard there's something with Root, or previously.
Yeah, Dignitas.
The people previously known as Root.
I will leave that up to them to make that decision and announcement.
Cool. Although I'm going to cheer for the team formerly known as Root. There we go. That's
there you go.
That'd be great. Ooh. People want to know about golden Hebo skins.
Yeah, we got data mined a few cards and stuff.
Oh, yeah, I mean, that just means that his card was made. Like, that's not really... maybe he's the next gold skin, but it's, really...
Yeah.
Those are made really, really far in advance, usually, for the gold skins, because it's just the kind of thing that, like, on our end, it's actually a pretty quick process. I think to get the gold skin ready to ship, like we have them all like roughed out and they just kind of clean them up, and then the cards are kind of just made like hey, we're gonna in the next 10 guys, or maybe one of them's gonna be Hebo. So.
Yep.
I'm really happy with all the gold cards, like how they look.
Yeah. I do.
And again, it harks back to like the art team doing like a really good job. And I mean, if I was compared to like coming to this game like a year ago, as to like now, like it like if I was coming in new, like all the new art and all the new stuff would just like make me want to play more.
Yeah.
It looks much more polished.
It's a whole new game. I love it. It's great. So thank you guys for that, for keeping up on all the hard work and making it fresh and not letting it get too stale or anything like that. Also, I had a suggestion of, would there be an option, maybe a favor dump, to let people buy the like stat ability, like say when you get your gold skin, to have it show on say another skin that's not gold, because say if you had a gold
if you buy
skin,
the gold skin, it shows on anytime you play that god. If you have the gold skin. Yep.
Oh, okay. So I could run a different skin and still shows my stuff at the beginning. Like I could run the Olympian on her and it would
yeah, if you have gold on her, it will. Yep.
Oh, well then. Yay! My prayers are answered.
Cool. Well, yeah, unfortunately I do have to pop out now, guys. But thanks for having me on, and sorry I was late.
No problem. We'll let you go.
It's okay, we just played with Google Hangout the entire time and hats.
Terrible.
Nice. Well, you guys take it easy and inform the people of your thoughts as well. I'll talk to you guys soon.
All right, later.
Bye-bye.
Yay!
And also, Joris DeForest, I don't even know if they've decided what kind of reset they're doing, let alone what be for when they
the ELO reset
match. Yeah.
That hi-rez discussed about, saying that they were going to allow a reset, or they're probably going to do a reset, and then maybe how they would do it, stuff like that. I did see the suggestion of, either he said it or somebody was suggesting it, or I thought of it, one of the two, about letting you spend favor to reset your ELO so you can start over. Like,
yeah, me and Lionheart,
nice.
we spent like a good day just talking about like ranked, like what should be done with ranked, and I think he ended up sending like a letter to them, and one of them was like, if you're gonna allow elo resets, which you really shouldn't do, make it so you can only do it once on like a really long cooldown.
Yeah, that's very true.
And so I really hope they don't make it so like, oh, you have favor, just reset whenever you want, because really it feels like it cheapens the. It's the same reason I don't like how you gain more if you do well in ranked. You should just get points if you win, and you should lose points if you lose. And I don't know, it just feels like it cheapens the ranked to me.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a little sad about that.
What I wanted to do was do a little theory crafting on the jungling. You up for that, Pon?
Let's go.
Let's go. Let's go.
Let's go.
I don't know. Should Mez come in and help? Granted, I don't know if Mez that.
We need another voice.
Yeah, he can be another voice. I suppose, Mez, you can jump back in, and we can discuss this. But do you want to do it in a game, or do you want to do it right now? Because I got a bunch of high-resolution images, thanks to Duke from the game, that are pretty awesome. Although none of them actually show the buffs.
I knew you couldn't last long.
I mean, I could play a game while jungling and talk about it.
We should play a game together and you jungle, and we'll discuss how it's going, what we need to do. You know.
Actually, we probably shouldn't because Google.
Well, we can do it on
Google.
Skype or Gamebox or whatever.
Have to.
Yeah, we can
I
do
still
that.
haven't installed Gamebox. Everyone's like, install Gamebox. I'm like,
Oh, come
You
on,
should.
man. It's so easy.
I'm
It's
sure it's
fantastic,
easy,
actually.
but it's like another VoIP that I have to install and keep
Yeah, I
tabs
know.
on.
It sucks.
I have like Vent, Mumble,
Yeah.
TeamSpeak.
Dolby. I actually don't have. No one I know needs TeamSpeak, so I don't have
use
TeamSpeak.
either.
Although I do have
have
Raid
TeamSpeak.
Call.
Oh, I've forgotten I even have Raid Call installed.
Ugh.
Raid call sucks.
I do not. I'm not a fan of Raid Call.
No.
All right.
Yeah.
So I guess basically what I'll do is I'll cut the show here, and then we will move on to theory crafting with Pompon in the jungle. So what do you want to move to, VoIP wise? I mean, we could just do it over Skype. 'Cause I have
Skype
both of you on
works.
Skype.
All right.
We can do that. So we'll be right back with some theory crafting with Pompon and jungling
I'll
time.
risk
So
the
it'll be lots of
DDoS.
fun. Yes. So
gonna
what
DDoS
I'm
you,
going to
Bon.
do is I'm going to no flare boot. You can come too. We're going to move over to the denial channel because I don't think my computer can handle playing a game and streaming to two channels at the same time. So I'm going to go ahead and move on over to the other channel, and we'll do it from there. And so while we do this transition, I'm going to run to take a quick break. Because my tea is overpowered, is what it is. Awesome. So we can get off.
Oh, I get to answer this call.
Yeah, you do. I made it for you.
Bum, bum, bum. All right.
Too fancy.
Yeah.
I'll just close this. Bink. There.
I
All right.
think I
Got my mic again. Thanks for doing that.
Skype.
It crashed Skype. I love that.
Did. Perfect. Let me restart Skype.
Okay. Awesome.
Ba-ba-ba-ba.
Because he doesn't have Gamebox. That's the problem, Flareboot. Although you could add me on Skype, Flareboot. Let's see. Where was I? Oh,
I think we're good.
all right. Cutting it out here. You can follow me everything
What god should
that I
I play
do
for
is
jungle?
Demon Machine. That's not below me because I still haven't made that title. I'm a terrible person. I am a terrible person.
I don't know what
today's-
jungle I should do.
Today has been felt kind of off. I guess it's because we were trying to play on the patch and have fun with it first before we
Yeah.
got started on everything. So it ruined our day because they took so long for the patch to come out. Ah!
And then when it did, we didn't even get to finish our first game.
No, we had to F6 after 40 minutes because Mez couldn't seal the deal with Aphrodite. Oh my god.
Sorry.
All right.
They were
well,
avoiding the love, man.
we'll be right back.
I don't know who I should jungle as.
Deicide!
I'm thinking Bakasura.